Hey guys, Brent Abernathy here. Got a special guest with me today. I'm joined by Tyler Sagal, who FFL Titans and helps 30 to 40 plus families every single month out in the field on his own personal pen. Also, FFL Titans agency that helped over 800 families last month, growing like crazy. A lot of good stuff going on. So, dude, I appreciate you joining me. I kind of want to just get right into it with you and talk a little bit about the reason why I wanted to have you on is you've been with me. What has it been? 3 years, roughly, I think. Okay. And you have had a lot of ups and downs, right, throughout the 3 years. A lot of good times, a lot of bad times, all that stuff. And I think that's important because we all have ups and downs, right? And if you come into this thing thinking that it's going to be all roses and daisies and it's going to be easy and it's going to be smooth sailing, I mean, you got the wrong impression, right? It's not. It's work, and it's how are you going to deal with things when they go good? How are you going to deal with things when they go bad? How are you going to move forward? All that stuff. That's what separates the top tier personal producers, the top tier managers, whatever, is how they get through those things and how they deal with those things and move forward and things like that. So talk a little bit about, obviously you started 3 years ago, kind of what you were doing when you first started with us. And then kind of maybe think back to some of those low times that you have had over those 3 years and kind of where your mind was at, how you were thinking, what you were doing or weren't doing, that type of thing. So we can kind of transition from there into what you do when you're on one of those highs. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I was, looking back and thanks for getting me on here. This is actually a topic I really, to be honest, I'm kind of passionate about because through my entire life, like whenever there's a low, even though sometimes I'm really frustrated and mad, sad, whatever it is, in the back of my mind, I'm always like, I want to be able to take this and turn it into good somehow, allow somebody else to learn from it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I first started, it was, for one, I never worked before. It's as weird as it sounds. Like I never had a job because I was in school. I was a college athlete. I had a couple of jobs here and there, but it was never like a consistent, it was like, 3 months in the summer, I'm in school. Right. And then I get into this where we're in 1099 sales, business owner. Never have I ever had that. Never have I thought about that.
Right.
Right. So, and for one, like already being somewhat emotional, highs, lows, and then you get into this. And if you're not consistent with it and disciplined and know why you're doing it, you can get rocked pretty easily. Right. And, one of the, I think the main thing that always got me tripped up and still sometimes does is a lack of consistent activity, whatever that looks like. Right.
Sure.
It's when you think too much, when you get caught thinking, and we always talk about that, where I'll call you up and be like, hey, so I'm thinking this. And you're like, stop, just don't think, just move, just go. Because every time I think, I'm thinking worst case scenario, I'm thinking this, and that. And what it's doing is it's actually prolonging you from actually acting, which we know in this business, acting is what gets this thing rolling. Right. So main thing there was consistency. So, how do I get out of that? Right. It's focus day to day on what you got to do. Set goals. Even if they're small goals. Like one of the things that always helps me is make a list. And even if it's just tiny things, just check them off the box. Right. Follow up with these 10 agents. Call back these clients. Figure out this policy details. Whatever it is. Book your appointments. Help 10 families a week. And it's just that slight build, but I think it's just being consistent and being focused on what the actual goal is versus just kind of, just doing whatever, going wherever the day takes you, right? It's like,
Right.
have a plan, stick to it. So,
Okay. So, so you said a lot right there. So basically, when you found yourself kind of going through some of those lows, it was kind of like you were spending so much time thinking about what should I do, or what's the plan, or what's the strategy, or what do I do next, or whatever, that over analyzing things instead of putting in action like you're forcing yourself to do now by making the checklists and things like that. Now you're busy, you're constantly trying to check things off of that list. So you're not having time sitting around paralysis by analysis type thing. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. And it's like I said, it's just having a clear goal in mind, because in the past, it was just like, let's go help a bunch of families and build a team and recruit and talk to people about it. And there was no like, we got to hit this number. We need to help this many families, this many agents, and we need to have this net at the end of the month. It was just go. And I think in the beginning, that's kind of how it needs to be, because if you get caught thinking too soon, you don't really have anything to like calculate and think about until your business gets to a point where it's like, okay, we got to pull back here, do more here to actually make it work the way it needs to be working. Right. And I think in the beginning, I started doing that too soon. I started trying to think too much in the beginning about how the business was structured and how this and that plays out. When in the beginning, as a new agent, it's just like, we got to move fast. Right. Because I think where people get tripped up as a new agent is, again, it's most people are new to 1099 sales. Right. And they think it's easy. They think, well, hey, if this guy's doing it, why can't I? But they don't see what this guy did for the last year. Right. One of my favorite, like the whole get 1% better each day. Like most people think success is just this like line going up, when actually it's like you get a little dip and then it like is exponential. But it's just that compounding effect of just getting 1% better, take one step forward each day.
Right.
And eventually over time it compounds. So
okay. So if you were talking to a new agent, like what would expectations be based on your experience? What sort of expectations would you give to a brand new agent coming in, to get them to be successful quickly? How would you talk to them? What would you talk to them about?
That it's a simple business. Like I would not have gotten into this business without leads. I wouldn't, because we have people that in one way, shape, or form requested our help. Okay, I know they work. I've sold insurance off of every single type of lead that's out there. Internet, age mailers, call-ins, live transfers, third-party vendors through Facebook, all of that. I've sold insurance for every single one. I've also not sold insurance for every single one, right? So it's just like, get leads, invest in your business. You're going to call a bunch of people. A bunch of people are going to tell you no, but you're going to get the people that actually do want your help, and you got to show up and go help them. Now, the products, you'll learn them as you go, but the main thing in the beginning is getting in front of enough people. And if you get in front of enough people week by week, you'll make in this business. But if you don't, it's not going to work. I think, I always ask like where they came from too. Was it a 9 to 5 that you came from? Because if it's a 9 to 5 and you work 40 hours, well, dude, you're about to start your own business. And you do know if you're starting a business and you're not working, you're not making money. So your 40 hours a week needs to be, in the beginning, 60, 70 hours a week to get this thing going. And I'll tell them, like, if you're not on the phones with clients, you're not in front of people, you're not door knocking or resolving leads, or you're not on the phone with agents, you're not making money. So do income producing activities during income producing hours, right? I want to know the products. I want to know this is like, that can be done in non-income producing hours.
Right.
right? And it's not so much focus on the in-home products, it's getting in front of people. Because if you get in front of enough people, you'll learn to sell. And as long as people like you and you smile and you actually care about people, and ask good questions. Right. And people are always like, well, what are good questions? And I'll say, if you genuinely care about these people, you'll ask good questions, because you're not there for the sale. You're not there for the money. It's you're actually caring what's going to happen if these people pass. Mm-hmm. So it's just hyperactivity. That's the big thing.
Yeah. And it sounded like earlier, maybe you've learned a little bit from your own mistakes as far as, your activity during the down periods in the past was just sitting there thinking about what your activity should be, basically. Mm-hmm. Right. Whereas now you're kind of thinking about that beforehand and putting it on a list, and then boom, now it's like knocking everything off. So it's keeping you on track, and it's keeping you actually active during those money-making times, like what you're talking about, right? Instead of wasting, because dude, that's one thing that it's amazing when you have your own business. It's like you can look up and an hour or two can be gone just like that. Like, I mean, it's crazy. I remember when I first started, I mean, I'd be trying to do anything I could to keep myself from getting on the phones dialing, but I'd be tricking my mind saying that I was working because I was checking pending or I was doing something like that, and it's like, all I was doing was just putting off the actual work part of what we do. And I think that's something that happens to a lot of people. They is understanding what things they should be focused on. What are the urgent things that they got to be doing every single day, right? And the most important things. And a lot of times the way our mind works is we end up putting off the things that we least like to do. But a lot of times the things that we least like to do are the things that help us make the most money and help our business grow the most. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Guilty. That's why. Like, you look back, and I just look back, and sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how I'm still in business by the grace of God. That's the only reason I'm still in business, because just by the amount of times I've made mistakes, just lapses where I just like, and that's the thing too, where, people go out, and I'm raising my hand here big time, because you go out, you help 10, 20 families in a weekend, and you're feeling good. Everything's going, deposits hit, like the account's fine. Mm-hmm. And then it's like the next week you take the foot off the gas because there's a little bit of complacency that steps in. Right.
Yes. And it's not like you mean to, right, but it's just the intensity with which you approach
correct
your daily, right?
Yep. And one of the things that, and this is just me, everyone's different. Everyone's got their own routines. Right. But I always know that whenever I would, and again, it just this inconsistent. This is kind of where I'm at. But the days that the day starts the night before of being prepared, knowing what you're going to do, drink a couple bottles of water before you go to bed, whatever it is, work out, eat good, and go to bed at a reasonable time. And then when the alarm goes off at 4:30, like I've been getting up at 4:30 now. I didn't used to do that. Mm-hmm. You know that. It is.
I know that you used to wake up at 8 o'clock, dial into conference calls, and fall back asleep while you were on conference calls. That's what I do remember.
Yeah. So it makes, you get it. But second the alarm goes off, I'm up, bottle of water, drink it. Dave Anderson talks about that. It helps, and I'll take 30, 40 minutes, read scripture, and then I'm grounded. My mind's in a good place. I'll go hit the gym, come back, eat, and I'm off. But it's a night and day difference between that morning versus a morning where I'm unprepared and I roll out of bed at 6:30. And
so talk about that. Okay. What is the difference? Like, on a day that you're prepared,
Yeah.
you hit the ground running, like what you're talking about, as opposed to a day where you're kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel? What is the actual difference in what you get accomplished, your mindset, all that sort of stuff?
It's my mind. It's clarity. It's focus. It's not shaky. Like it's more of it's proactive, not reactive. Like when you're not prepared, when the day throws stuff at you, you react to it. But if you're proactive and you're already seeing things happening, right? Different circumstances popping up, you're like, I already know that. I knew this was going to happen. I'm prepared for it. And I think one of the biggest things to do with self-confidence is saying you're going to do something and then not doing it. That tears self-confidence apart.
Right.
What builds it up though is when you say you're going to do something and then you do it. Mm-hmm. And then you do it over and over and over and over again. And now it's rolling. But when you continuously tell yourself you're going to do something and then not do it, it's like a negative compounding effect. Mm-hmm. So to me, that it starts in the morning. Starts the first thing in the morning is, and even like, and I'm sure many people said this, but the one person that this stuck with me was Mike Kilman. When he said, my business changed when I woke up every morning. When I first woke up, it's going to be a great day. Mm-hmm. Even if you got chargebacks, you got stuff happening, it's going to be a great day. Mm-hmm. I'm blessed. I'm favored. It's going to be a great day. And from the beginning in the morning, that separates my good days from my past bad days.
Right. And it's perspective too. I mean, really, truly, what is a bad day? I mean, yeah, you're going to deal with some stuff, some ups and downs. And I mean, nothing that's worth having is going to be easy without struggles and things like that. But it's really, truly that the perspective side of things has really helped me. The world tells us that we need to add on and we need to, negative and just the negative connotations about everything, complaining, moaning, whatever, right? That's just what the world says to do. And it's become commonplace, right? And we have to fight that urge. I used to do it. I mean, I used to talk to people all the time that would be, would lead me down that path, that negative path or whatever, but you just have to be aware of it. And you have to look at it and just be like, man, really? What am I really moaning and groaning about? I mean, it's like, get over yourself and let's keep moving. Let's look on the positive. There's people that are dealing with a lot worse things than what we deal with, and so that perspective really, that was big for me. And it sounds like it's been big for you too. But what are you, dude? This has been awesome because it's the preparation. It's that you're really being intentional about what you do right now, and you're also noticing when you're not. I think does that make sense? Like the down periods,
Yep.
Why? Like, do you remember, was there something that caused you to flip that and really the intentionality with which you're going about every day now? Because look, and I know it, you still don't, there's days where you have bad days now, right? And I can hear it in your voice when you and I talk or whatever. So it's not like every day is a good day, but like what caused you to make that flip and noticing making some of these changes and, in what you're doing, your preparation, your mindset, like was there something that caused you? Cause I think it's something a lot of people deal with.
Yeah. I think when people come into this, there's hunger and there's drive, and it's like, we got to make things happen. Your back's against the wall. Most people fight the best when their back's against the wall.
Right.
I know every time my back's against the wall, I come out swinging and I win. Now it's what gets you is when you get ahead, and that's that little bit of complacency that steps in, and then all of a sudden complacency comes and bang, back's against the wall again. And I think I'm just so sick of back against the wall right?
Got it.
It's
Yeah.
like you make progress, you go back. You make
Mm-hmm.
progress, you go back. And it's just like this. And I'm just so done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say I've been doing, this 2 years. Like I've been with for 3, the
Right.
first year it's what it is. But the last 2 years, even that, I look back at my production and growth and team. And it's like, if you broke my year down last year, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
still helped 346 families last year, but the
Mm-hmm.
amount of time that I wasted that I didn't focus on, if I would have been completely disciplined the entire year, I should have helped over 500 families
Right.
without a doubt.
Right.
But again, it was the lack of consistency and the time that I wasn't, or I was maybe a little bit complacent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the changes, I'm just tired of it, and I know how much value I can bring to the world, agents, clients, and I think it's but now it needs to be it's about other people, because I think when it's about yourself, you make a lot of excuses, right? And I don't
Right.
know if it was I think it was Coach K in the Final Four this year. Something came up from him. I don't know if the speech was from a long time ago or recently, but he's in the locker room. He's telling these guys, he's like, be like your mom. Like your mom's a hero because she showed up every single day when she didn't want to. She got up in the morning, she fed you, she never complained. And I look at my mom, and that's exactly what she did. And then here I am, right? Perspective, got a
Mm-hmm.
business, control your own hours. I mean, you know how much you can make in 1099 sales with the comp, all of it,
Yeah.
right? And then there's days where I'm just like, I'm good, right? It's not about me anymore. I think that was the click.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome to hear, man. It's crazy because I think it's same thing happened to me 8 or 9 years ago. It's like, I'm done. I'm done with this because like we have a vehicle here, and thank God for Family First Life and the vehicle that we have, right? Where you can go out and help a bunch of people and you can make a bunch of money. As long as you're working hard, you can make a bunch of money very quickly, right? And so we dig ourselves out. Like you say, I love the back against the wall thing. You get yourself where you're comfortable, or your back's not up against the wall. And then it's like, then you breathe. And I did the same thing. You breathe, and then it's like, oh, right back against the wall again. And we have a system in place where if you do go hard and you keep that discipline for a full year or a full 2 years or full
Mm-hmm.
3 years or whatever, it's not like we're talking a long period of time, but you got to keep that discipline with which you approach your business consistently, right? For a short period of time. And you can get ahead so far and grow so much in that short period of time that you don't ever have to be worried about getting pushed back up against the wall again. Right.
Right.
That's what I love. And being able to see other people, because again, I'll go back to how the world is. The world tells you it's normal and it's common to live paycheck to paycheck and live with your back against the wall. And that's what you're supposed to do, right? That's supposedly normal. And but we have a system in place where if you want more, you can go get more. And you can also help a lot of other people get more as well. And dude, that's why I love working with you so much is just constantly changing, constantly evolving. I think about that. What are you're 26 now? You're 25 now. Okay. So I think about the 22-year-old kid that used to sleep in until 11 o'clock, used to help 4 or 5 families a month, used to say he was going to work and wasn't working, and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think about how far you've come. Couldn't stand up in front of a room and train people, right? Because you were so nervous and had such little self-confidence. didn't even know how to tie a tie, right? I think about some of those things, and how far you've come. And, I think the activity and the way you're approaching things now, and the activity, the intentionality, that also does wonders for self-confidence, like you were saying. And I think self-confidence, belief in yourself, is something that a lot of people struggle with, and they try and figure out, how do I start believing in myself more, and this, that, and the other, right? And less white space on your calendar at work is the biggest self-confidence builder, you can do, and activity. And, I'm seeing it change, in you, dude. I'm seeing you when you do have those lows now, being able to bring yourself out of the lows much quicker, right? Or not even get into them. So, I mean, dude, just the growth you've had in 3 years is awesome. I know the team's growing like crazy. Got a lot of good stuff going on. You have anything else you want to leave the men and women with as we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I already talked about this, but just to reemphasize it, it's just action. It's, and I remember Sean said it once. He's like, you want to change your self-image, work, not confident, work. And when I heard it, a couple years back, I'm like, yeah, of course, whatever, work. But like, it makes sense. It like, how you have that aha moment, right? Where it's just like, okay, now I got why they were saying this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even tell you how many times you've said something, but it took me 2-3 months, sometimes a year, for me to go, got it. Now I know why he told me that at this time what I was going through. Got it.
Right.
But I guess some people, if I just don't quit. Like Mike Hillman always says it too. Like, the only people that, if you're going to have success in this business, just don't quit. Like, work. The only people that fail is if you quit, because this business, the numbers, the way the renewals, the insurance business works is, if you're in it long enough, you're going to make money, and you're going to make a massive impact on people's lives. And it's awesome to be a part of it. Obviously you do have the byproduct of it, which is the financial side, right? Which is great, but everything's here. It's all one between the ears. Like, everything starts there. And I think it all starts by just showing up and working consistently, making team calls, and it's an anchor in your schedule. You don't, if you have a 9 to 5, you don't show up at 10 o'clock. It's got to be the same thing for team calls, dial days, Zoom. I mean, it's just practice excellence, be consistent. I guess that's the big thing there. So hope that helped.
I love it, dude. Practice excellence every single day, and you'll get a lot more accomplished, a lot more done. You'll have a lot more self-confidence. And dude, you're inspiring a lot of people. I appreciate what you do for the team. I look forward to what the rest of 2022 has in store for you and Catherine and your team. And just appreciate you. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, bud?
Absolutely.
Amen. Talk to you soon.